All right, recording now. So, factions of the Rightosphere: the dissident right, classical neo-reactionaries, Christian Caesarists, Christian Parallelists, Neo-Luddites, and BAPists by John Arcto. The dissident right. The word dissident right is very confused. In the introduction to this series, I distinguished between the third new right, dissident right, and various other rightosphere movements. Because the dissident right is so predominantly online and made up of anons, I won't be able to name everyone. My intention of naming individuals and publications is simply to give examples of the faction and give proof I'm not just making stuff up. Here are 5 factions that fit into this grouping. Number 1, classical neo-reactionaries. This is the movement that started it all off. Originally confined to niche tech circles, it was bankrolled by Silicon Valley barons like Peter Thiel. Oh, I love Peter Thiel. I want those Thiel bucks. I want him to shower me in Thiel bucks. Allowing
Ooh.
it to gain a wider audience. What is interesting is that the originators of the neo reactionary or NRX movement were not classical right wingers. They were more in tune with libertarianism and the Californian ideology, which was a 1990s form of techno optimism, which combined economic libertarianism, gross, with countercultural values. Curtis Yarvin. Enter Curtis Yarvin. In the late 2000s, Curtis started his blog Unqualified Reservations under the name Mencius Moldbug, which is still accessible today. Yarvin originated the word cathedral to describe a loose, decentralized, faceless network of establishment institutions pushing the same globalist, socially liberal values that controls public discourse to get people to believe whatever benefits this hidden elite. This term has become standard in online right wing circles. Whilst the concept of the cathedral is his best known contribution, the ultimate focus of Yarvin's writings is a critique of democracy. Channeling elite theorists like Gaetano Mosca, Vilfredo Pareto, Robert Mitchells, and James Burnham, Yarnum sees elites as inevitable and oligarchy as an iron law of human existence. But he views democracy as worse than monarchy because it is dishonest and cryptic in how it operates. I think this is understandable in the sense that you have the MSM, the mainstream media, basically lying to the American public about who actually holds power in this country. Um, anyway,
Mm.
using a heavy dose of irony and humor, Yarvin dismantles the ideas of liberal slash Whig teleology and natural rights. He advocates the doctrine of formalism, which posits the simple principle that, quote, the system should work in theory how it actually operates in practice, end quote. Um, in light of this, his political ideal is to return to a reformulated version of monarchy that he calls neocameralism, whereby a CEO monarch would be elected by shareholders, just like a joint stock company. Most of the time, this CEO monarch would have total power to control the state apparatus and make political decisions, though he would be accountable, being removable by an anonymous vote of the state's board of directors using blockchain. Very, very futuristic. I feel like this man is in 2100 already. Um, I can't keep up with it. As for the scale of polities, he envisions a system he calls patchwork, where there are thousands of privately owned city states with various overlapping relations with each other, and people can vote with their feet by moving to whichever they feel gives them the best ideal. I don't
Well,
know.
that's why the high trust ones just fall apart. That's
Libertarians
provided for.
libertarians fundamentally do not have the answers to the biggest problems of modernity.
Well, to
Like
be
the
fair,
libertarian
This
ideal is
isn't a libertarian. This is
a post-libertarian.
Curtis.
neo-cameralist. Like it's Curtis Yarvin, but like this is a very libertarian idea.
Yes,
Well,
It's like
it is
CEOs running the world.
inherently libertarian. At least in America, yes.
I mean, well, yeah, imagine just like a
But
million Somalis moving into some sort of seastead, you know? I've heard that
so I
Peter
don't
Thiel is very pro seastead. So that's the sort
know
of
certainly.
this is the sort of early political philosophy of this new type of community that has yet to exist.
Yeah, so I don't remember if Yarvin identifies as a libertarian, but like his thinking is
I,
definitely more in those veins than not.
No, well, his
yeah,
ideology is
I'd
basically a
agree.
defense of libertarianism. He's sort of trying to rescue it, if you will, from liberal
Save
democracy.
it
Yeah,
from,
from itself. Uh,
yeah.
I don't think it's savable from itself. That's the issue.
Well,
Well,
I
you're
also don't. I
European.
think you're sort of taking Curtis Yarvin like at his word too much, if you will. I don't know how serious about he is about patchwork. It's kind of more of a rough sketch, if anything. If you know what I mean. It's. I don't think it's meant to be
I
taken
think
as seriously
he's
as some people
saying
take
it's a
it.
good shaking things out, essentially.
Yeah.
Is you'll have all these city states, and each one can develop its own regime, but eventually it just shakes out certain regimes tend to be better than other regimes. I think that's what it's going for more than anything.
Yeah, it's a way of sort
It's
of extending
allowing
some. What was that?
it's a way of allowing society to be it's a way of shaking the shaft, the breaking off the shaft. It's shaking things out, so to speak, of society.
It's like an idea, a way of like expanding or extending libertarian principles into the late 21st century. That's at least how
Yeah.
I view it. It's not perfect, obviously, and I don't think it's meant to be taken literally, but anyway, recently, however, Yarvin has shown less emphasis on his unique political system proposal and has had connections with staff in the Trump administration advocating an American Caesar who would reboot America, i.e., Trump. This discourse around an American Caesar has become pretty normal on the American right, with the implication that Donald Trump should declare himself the first American emperor. Yarvin has explicitly advocated rage, retire all government employees. This is what I said. This is what I said Trump is doing now. He's willing to fire all
Mm-hmm.
those guys who are federal government workers, who are swamp creatures. Trump is
I
taking
mean,
a
he's
page out of
willing. We'll
rage.
need to see if he's able. I don't mean legally. I mean just. Well, yeah. At the end of the day, it will be legal, a legal question. But like, can he overcome the legality of it?
Yeah.
As the executive, he has the ability to gut the executive branch if he wants to. He
Yeah, there's
can.
nothing stopping him from this. This is why you see so many of them freaking out. Like as the president, he can fire any government employee at will. Um,
That's
as the
like the whole point of being the president.
yeah, as the policy that Trump implement, and his influence can be seen in Schedule F and Project 2025. The term red pill was popularized by Curtis Yarvin to describe the process by which a blue pilled, normal liberal person becomes awakened to the brutal reality that democracy and human rights, so called, are a facade for power. Eloquently put. This was already common in the manosphere scene, but it was Yarvin who oriented it towards elite theory. Other parts of the lexicon he developed are elves and hobbits. Cthulhu swims slowly, but he always swims left. And the aforementioned rage, retire all government employees. All in all, it is impossible to understand the dissident right without understanding Yarvin. Whilst he is somewhat detached from the newer Substack and podcast scene, only coming on occasionally, all the dissident right will have been inspired by Yarvin's repopularization of elite theory. Ew, gross. Neema Parvini. Neema Parvini, academic agent mostly, and OG Roland Rat on X, is an influential figure that pioneered the British dissident right, though he dislikes the term dissident right, terming key canonical phrases like boomer truth regime, sensible centrism back to Fresh Prince, and putting the woke away. Man, I really disagree with academic agent on putting the woke away. I feel like he's too black pilled, and
He does live in England.
yeah, well,
So
the whole
the regime that
Yeah.
he observes is different from like the American one. So I think that that does taint his image.
he's gotten some things right,
Not like
but then like he's sort of banking on that, and then he concluded Neema Parvini or OG Roland Rat concluded that um, the sort of new elites. He's like the elites want Trump because Trump won. No, like he doesn't know about what elections were like in 2020, how logistically they were different than 2024, and the Democrats can't pull a 2020 anytime they want, whenever they want. That's an important distinction. And he also just doesn't like he drew the wrong conclusions because there is simply more money behind Kamala. That doesn't mean that the true establishment, the true people holding the levers of power, wanted Trump, and that's why Trump won. It was a
they wanted
combination of
him
the
as like a
fact that
fall guy.
what was that?
I thought they wanted him as like a fall guy, basically get him in, crash the economy, and that's it. Like I don't think there was like a plan after that.
They'll crash the economy vindictively if he won in order
Yeah,
to
yeah.
attempt. Well, that's not really the same. It's not like oh he's the fall guy. It's more like well we can't win, so we're just gonna make things as hard for him as possible. You see the difference in framing there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway, that had become standard jargon across the Anglosphere online right. Parvini's book, The Populist Delusion, is a great introduction to elite theory for those unacquainted with it. It came out in 2022, a time when the failures of the alt-right, with its emphasis on street movements, meme culture, and a populist upsurge, were finally being critically analyzed due to the spirit of 2016 having been crushed by big tech censorship and the PR disaster that was Charlottesville. As a Brit of Persian descent and applying neo-reactionary analysis to British conditions, Parvini
Oh
believes
wait, he's
Tony.
a Persian Brit.
He's
Ew.
half Persian, half British.
Iranian. He's an Iranian.
Yeah, he's a Persian guy. I could see, given pictures of him, I could see him wearing like a gold chain, and very
Mm-hmm.
strong cologne.
That's probably what he does. He's Persian.
Parvini believes Tony Blair was a Schmittian-like figure who declared the state of exception to be able to rewrite the rules of the British state, and the current regime in Britain being the one of Blair. Parvini claims not to be ideological and purely motivated by a dispassionate understanding of elite power structures, that is, dismissing the idea of positive visions in his hilarious Trumperton video. Never seen that, never going to watch it. He often dismisses culture war issues and calls any progress on this front containment and co-option. See, here's where he's blackpilling. Like, people being against children being mutilated is not containment. Like this is where he's like truly a useless European voice on the online right. Like
Being against it, like he's not entirely wrong on that one. There is a lot of voices that basically just regurgitate the slop. Like I don't know. I agree with him. Libs of TikTok, I think, is like a slop account, just reposting basically the variations of the same videos over and over and over, farming rage clicks.
Libs of
Like
TikTok.
this
Oh my
is there are
God,
people who are against this.
you're so off the mark here. Libs of TikTok being a slop account doesn't mean that like getting people to turn against the idea of giving a 12-year-old hormone blockers is containment. Like these are two very different things. Like there are real
Like
people in
what
Western
I,
countries being affected by this
what I
issue.
was
This is not
what I was
containment.
getting at is this is more. It could be this is just used to get people to spin the wheels in place, like to do nothing.
This is
They'll
not
just
spinning the
exhaust
wheels.
themselves.
They've created a problem. They've created it could be not as big as the ultimate fire we're trying to put out, but they have created another fire which is very important that needs to be put out. which is there are real people in real life being affected by this stuff all across America, and I
You know,
assume across Europe too. So I do not, you know,
I'd say
our
America
talking
with
our
the
talking points.
transgender stuff much so more so America.
That's true, but our talking points being mainstreamed isn't necessarily containment in, as Parvini would suggest. There's a real, we have had legitimate cultural victories, legitimate cultural and social victories.
Oh, are they saying that what we've done so far is just containment? No, yeah, we've
Basically, yeah.
succeeded. We've succeeded. We've achieved. We have won certain
it's
victories.
too it's too early to declare victory.
Well, no, we have made
Not
steps.
declare
This
victory.
isn't this isn't final victory. This is like
Victories.
steps in the right
Yeah,
direction.
so we haven't reached the end of Z yet, but we've victory
See, this is this,
in some level.
anyway. Conclusion. What unites both of these individuals is their strong opposition to democracy. The features they particularly critique is the high time preference, the hidden elite power structure, the deception, the justification of controlling every aspect of life in the name of the people, and generally just being a fabricated and elaborate justification for the rule of an insidious elite. A lot of these ideas weren't exactly new, very true, but they
Mm.
were synthesized and repackaged in a way that created an original movement. They revived elite theory to a new audience in an era where populism was seen to have failed. They formed the bedrock from which the other factions of the dissident right are built, even though the others depart from Yarvin and Parvini's theories in significant ways. Parvini really shouldn't even be uh, put on the same level as Yarvin. He's simply not as important. Um,
He's not as
anyway,
important, but
Well,
he
to
is one of the
Americans, he
larger.
isn't. I think to
Yeah.
Europeans, he's more important than
Well,
Yarvin.
even on the well, for the Anglos, he's certainly important. Like he has one of the bigger right wing channels. Give me a second. I think it's like 100K or something, which for a
Yeah.
right winger, especially one that's not like fucking
I'd
Shapiro,
say Yarvin,
that's an
kind of,
accomplishment.
no offense to Yarvin, he's not very big outside of America, and even within America, he's niche. Is
Well,
he
Yarvin
getting
is
bigger?
known.
Yes.
Well, I get a feeling Yarvin is known in the same sense as like these ancient thinkers are. Like I don't know, his current presence is outshined by his past accomplishments.
he has important connections, though.
He
Yeah.
He
does,
has and continues
especially
to have
in.
important connections.
But of course, cutting edge philosophy in political achievement is going to lag.
Okay, give
What
me.
you're able to achieve politically will naturally lag behind what philosophically is capable
I
of the
agree.
movement.
Christian Caesarists. Christian Caesarists, the next faction. This faction is
Mm.
pretty vague and dispersed. That's what I was going to say. I don't know anyone who personally identifies as a Christian Caesarist. Whilst the
I think
original,
I might know one person.
who unironically calls himself this,
No, whose identity is what I expect this to be, but he doesn't call himself this. But continue.
um, whilst the original NRX is mostly secular, the religious turn, which is discussed here, in the late 2010s and early 2020s caused more Christian inclined people to take up the mantle of Yarvin and elite theory. One of the notable voices of this faction is Charles Haywood. Haywood outlines his vision in his Foundationalist Manifesto, which is essentially a futuristic and more aggressive form of post liberalism, but one which is more explicitly anti democratic. He also harshly criticizes the post liberal. Yeah, this is the sort of like Catholic wing of neo reaction. So like with
Yeah.
NRX, there's like there are Catholics who are heavily involved in NRX, and this seems like it's the Christian Caesarists are just the Catholic NRX. Um, anyway, I'll let this piece finish. Um, he
Mm-hmm.
also harshly criticizes the post liberals for not standing up for European Americans and buying into the America is a racist country narrative. So it's a little bit more European identity centric, if you will. Haywood is also interesting as a representative of the rare Christian futurist tendency, combining space colonization with loyalty to Christendom. Space colonization is stupid. Um, but he doesn't rely on Christian arguments for his beliefs. His manifesto has a funny line where he talks about the importance of religion and the reason why Christianity will be the most obvious choice due to its historical significance in the West. But then, after he has made a strong secular case, he says, and it is also true, which is a bonus. A funny example of compartmentalization, which I find quite difficult. This was kind of I guess Charles Haywood is an important person who deserves a note, but I do find that this was a bit of a waste of a section.
Well, I mean, I would be interested in reading the rest of this article. I know some of it we can't on this stream, but definitely send me this info because I'm interested in reading the rest of it.
I think we can read the rest of this. We just got to be
Sly in the choice
vague.
of words.
Yeah, we got to be careful in our choice of words. Let's see. Christian parallelists. I hate how they keep inventing new words. Parallelists.
Yeah, they keep parallelists. I didn't even know what the Christian Caesarists was. What was?
Did they even really give a definition? Like, not
No,
really.
they didn't. No, they just said this guy Charles Haywood is a Christian Caesarist, and then didn't explain anything.
There was no texturing. This is
No,
kind of what
none.
what I don't like about the dissident right too. You have too many people who think that there are these new social theorists, the big professors of right-wing political scientists, and they feel like they have license to just invent their own words and concepts, and they feel like their ideas are so important.
It is, and they think that you want to know what it is. A bunch of poli-sci majors run amok.
Yeah.
It is.
Are we the legitimate poli-sci and history majors, though?
If you're a poli-sci history major, you're above that of a pure poli-sci. A pure poli-sci that's who creates these nonsensical titles.
Are we the captain now? Are we the captain?
We are the captain.
We are the captain.
We are the captain. I am the captain now.
This faction is kind of a more radical version of Rod Dreher's The Benedict option, though Dreher is universally disliked across the dissident right for the Thomas Accord. I don't know what any of this is. Like, I thought I was, like, into this scene of online. I'm like, I don't know who, like, I don't know what any of this is. Of which Charles
That's why I want... This sounds like some stuff that I know.
Because I don't know who else would call their book the Benedict option.
I think it's just a bunch of... Is it just a bunch of papist stuff? I think it's just talking about factions of the papists.
Yeah, this is too papist for us, potentially. The Benedict option.
That sounds very papist to me.
No, I think that's...
Alistair McIntyre. I think Alistair McIntyre is a tradcath theorist.
Yeah, his name sounds like one. He's like a Scottish tradcath. Alistair McIntyre, that sounds like a Scottish tradcath. He sounds like he supports the Jacobites.
Yeah, but he's another popular figure on the right.
Hold on. You spoke too soon.
Is he?
He has been described as a revolutionary Aristotelian because he attempted to combine historical insights from his Marxist past with those of Thomas Aquinas and Aristotle after McIntyre's conversion to Catholicism. Yeah.
Yeah, he is a papist.
This
I
this has this is
recall
this
that.
has papists all over it. These individuals think that modern secular society is fundamentally broken and unreformable. There is no way out of our current malaise, no soft landing until we fully return to Christ and live a trad calf life of Christian communes. Of course, in
Yeah,
communion with the papacy. Let's not leave that out here. This group
papist.
sees
It's just
secularism as
papist
the problem,
nonsense.
the ill that caused
I
all the
just
rest.
made a tribute to Bashar al-Assad. It's uploading to YouTube right now.
Oh,
Apparently,
wow.
he's not dead yet. So.
Well, no, it's a tribute to his reign, even if he doesn't
Oh
die.
yeah. Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
he had a good run.
He did. He truly did. Okay.
I'm not uploading to my official channel about me supporting Assad.
I don't know. You seem
That's where
kind
I'm
of
gonna
wild.
go.
You seem like kind of out there. I was like, maybe he's ballsy enough to do it. Why not? Like,
No,
Imagine
what am I
actually
gonna
getting
tell
a
my
job
boss?
in the
My boss is just gonna
party.
look at my YouTube. He's gonna be like, "Why is there a Bashar al-Assad edit on your YouTube?" And I'll just.
just tell him it was
Just
for
be
the
like,
meme. It's not because you really support him. It was just for the meme.
It's for the meme.
You will understand in 10 years.
Yeah, people will get it.
In 10 years, you'll understand there. Just give it some time.
What in 10 years? What will happen in 10 years?
Oh, you'll find out in 10 years. That's all I'm saying.
You'll just get it then. It doesn't matter what happens. You'll just get it by that point.
It's very ominous. The Serb knows something about Bashir that we don't.
Bashir. About Andy Bashir, dude.
About old Bashir.
Let's just continue. Unlike some of the post-liberals who will dress up this by saying their issue is liberalism, the Christian parallelists make it clear that there is no way back to normality without a return to Christianity. They are very much in the accelerationist camp, taking the Yarvin approach that doing anything in the realm of politics will just strengthen the enemy, and that it's better to just lay low. However, they take this idea further than Yarvin, who at least opens up the possibility of a Caesarist reconquest. Here's the thing about Yarvin is I don't even totally believe he's serious about the don't even participate in politics thing, because apparently he's in contact with the media is going crazy over this. He's in contact with Peter Thiel, obviously, and he's also in contact with JD Vance. So I don't know that his suggestion. I don't even know. I really feel like I shouldn't be saying this. But
I don't
know
think
that
he's genuine about it.
Exactly. I don't know if it's so much as just to distance himself from electoral politics to give him sort of like an excuse because he wants to stay like low profile or whatever. Examples of this faction include unpronounceable Greek word and
I think that's cryptos, something like that.
No one cares and no one wants to know. And Dave Green. for those looking
I am now big sad.
Yeah. Sorry, no one. Don't even stylize your name. This is America. This is the internet, and you need to be speaking English if you want to be taken seriously. We can drop 10 nuclear bombs on your country. I don't even care right now.
It won't work.
For those looking for some more figures, I advise you to look at Old Glory Club. I will not be going there. A lot of it paywalled. Yeah, because that's all the dissident right is at this point. One giant Substack behind a paywall. That's the dissident right at this point. And the website here again with the inventing words praxarchy. No, I'm not going there. No, I don't
That's just
care.
a name, it's not a word.
What is that?
I don't care to know. I don't care to find out. See, look at this. It doesn't even load properly.
Blank.
Screw this. Neo-Luddites. All right, Neo-Luddites. A lot of this faction is hard to place and oh, see, this is the first article was like his best article because he was just identifying various types of Catholic. Now these are like kind of rushed and not as good. This faction is hard to place and bleeds into other factions. Of course it does. Just know they are the polar opposites of the techno-optimists we discussed in the last section, as different as it's possible to be in the Rightosphere. Oh, maybe we skipped an article.
Damn it.
Whatever.
There was. Let me check.
As the name
It was like the
suggests,
first one, then the post-liberals, then national conservatives, then paleos and optimists, then this one, then there's two more.
dude, we should have done the national conservatives.
We should have.
Whatever. This faction is hard to place and bleeds into other factions. Just so they are the polar opposite. Just know they are the polar opposites of the techno-optimists we discussed in the last section. Blah blah blah. As the name suggests, Neo-Luddites have a suspicion of technology. They're all very distrustful of transhumanism and see it as an extension of transgender industry. And all part of the same project to turn human beings into something other than what they are and easier to control in the process. Mary Harrington. The most moderate and mainstream representative of this faction is Mary Harrington, who oh great, it's another Substack. Is Mary Harrington. Of course she's a TERF too. She serves as a bridge between TERFism and the dissident right with her work Feminism Against Project Progress 2022, making the case of a new covenant between the sexes based on interdependence and difference. We still hate TERFs, and they're still very stupid. Her narrative of industrialization is unique. She argues that the shift from an agricultural to industrial society hurt women at the expense of men who had previously been interdependent on each other, and feminism is an overreaction to that. Okay, kinda. Taking her gender critical feminism to more comprehensive conclusions, she sees transgenderism as part of a broader movement to dismantle what it means to be human, i.e., transhumanism, and highlights the common funding between the two. She calls this progress theology, a reckless pursuit of technological and social progress, regardless of the costs, and transgenderism. Harrington is an opponent of artificial wombs, in vitro fertilization, and surrogacy, but also the contraceptive pill as the first transhumanist technology that fundamentally altered the natural relationship between the sexes. Kaczynskiites. Then, of course, there's the most famous.
Kaczynskiites. No, yeah.
Let your
I
chuckles
feel like
out
the
right
people
now.
who say, I feel like the people who say Spangler every time I say that.
Every time you say Kaczynski, someone says Spangler.
No, it's Kaczynski. It's a Polish surname.
I'm not saying it right. This is America.
Kaczynski, yeah. Kaczynski himself pronounced it Kaczynski. It's America. We don't say Kaczynski.
He was stupid. What can I say?
We don't respect Slavs in this country.
Yeah, get back
he's
with
a
your
Slav.
pronunciation. No, he's not. He's an American. And
He's
patriot.
a goddamn American. Don't you say that about Uncle Ted, you goddamn Serb.
Yeah, you.
It's magic soil now.
Filthy,
mountain-dwelling, for the magic soil argument now.
And then, of course, there is the most famous Neo-Luddite Ted Kaczynski, known as the Unabomber. Whilst far predating the dissident right himself, Kaczynski has become something of a cult hero among them, with the meme "based and Ted pilled" going viral in this space. It's hard to name any particular commentator who is a pure Kaczynskiite other than a Discord server claiming to represent the dissident right called New Aristocracy, who were very oriented around his work, which I found rather peculiar. This is all so niche, no one cares.
It's a Discord server. Oh my god.
I know, right? Oh, so big and worth talking about. His manifesto, Industrial Society, and it is future. I don't think he put the
It's
apostrophe
future.
And its future.
Yeah.
there.
I think it is its future. It's
Society.
Yeah.
the Industrial
Industrial
Society and its
Society
content.
and
Yeah, see,
yeah,
there wasn't an
Industrial
apostrophe here.
Revolution.
Look at this. There's no apostrophe. And it's no apostrophe. Future.
Listen, he's a true American. He only speaks 75% of the language.
Yeah, proper American.
Makes the point that technology is both assisted by and encourages an ever greater centralization of state power. COVID arguably proved many of his predictions right, as the obsessive focus on particular statistics, due to the ability to test and trace, served to justify a never ending cycle of government mandates and restrictions. Total biometric surveillance. Conclusion. This neo-Luddite tendency bleeds into anti-vaxxers, with the exception of Mary Harrington, who seems to be too intelligent. Oh, this guy's a vaxxer.
Oh.
Oh, cringe. Who are firmly in the
Vax.
conspiracy theorist box, and who I will discuss when I get around to talking about the conspiracy theorists. However, it would be wrong to dismiss this faction's most eloquent writers completely, making some interesting points that deserve to be taken into consideration. He really
He's
shouldn't have
really
put
like a
he shouldn't have put the
Neo-Luddite.
TERFs in there. I don't know why he
Yeah.
included a TERF. That was
The
stupid.
problem with like Neo-Luddites is there. I don't think there's like a singular Neo-Luddic faction. It's just a lot of Neo-Luddic thought does seem to trickle down into the right wing, but there is no faction that's like strictly Neo-Luddic.
Neo-Luddite, yeah,
These
that's
are all
true.
like vague tendencies.
The
They're not as
Amish.
solid as he's pretending they are.
Well, the Amish are not like they're a known presence, but they're not like a significant presence.
We're now incorporating the Amish into the dissident right.
Yeah,
The Amish.
we need to bring them on the
The Amish are a factor in the They were mobilized in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, they were mobilized in
gay guy, no
Pennsylvania. They're
less.
now part of the dissident
Listen,
right.
you need to go to Pennsylvania, convert the Amish to the Nation of Islam, and get them all on podcasts.
I can't. They're all Caucasoid. They would have to join the Society of White Muslims.
The Society of White Muslims.
Make one for them.
Well, if they're Irish, they can join via the Hyberto Moorish Science Temple. We can't forget that.
But they're German. They're not Irish.
Yeah, they're German. We'll have to create the Teutonic Moorish Science Temple. The Teutonic Moorish Science Temple. We have to create some theology for them, but it'll be fine.
I can't hold on. There's like a. There is the Nation of Islam does believe in a secret society of white Muslims who are like Freemasons, who help them out.
What?
I know, right? They never mentioned it. I can't find it just from a cursory search, but I'm not gonna.
You need to do like a series.
How do I join that? How do I join the Society of White Muslims?
Give me a second. Give me a second.
You need to be Amish.
Anyway, BAPists. Finally, we have the BAPists. Bronze Age Pervert, and his book Bronze Age Mindset was brought into mainstream conservative circles by Curtis Yarvin, who had various Claremont Fellows read it. Bronze Age Pervert, or BAP, represents a Nietzschean vision that valorizes the traditional masculine warrior and Faustian spirit of the West, and claims that this spirit is being sapped by the Longhouse, a now standard term on the dissident right. BAP termed the word Longhouse to describe female domination of community life. Contrary to mainstream narratives that present humanity as a traditionally patriarchal, BAP puts forward the narrative that women have almost always controlled society behind the scenes, with ancient Greece and the Enlightenment era West some of the few exceptions. He criticizes the Bugmen, a veiled reference to Klaus Schwab, who served the Longhouse by facilitating the ever greater managerial control over young men, sapping out their vitality. In response to this, BAP wants to create a brotherly fraternal order where men can naturally dominate over weaker, inferior forces and beings in a Nietzschean fashion. Inspired by various warrior castes in the pre Christian age, he calls this the Bronze Age mindset. He brings a rival Nietzschean vitalist strand to the dissident right, which is often contrasted to the Christian side. He is also a big critic of post-liberalism with his article "After This Movement Never Happened" in Man's World about Javier Milei, making the distinctions clear between what he represents compared to the various economic leftist adjacent tendencies. The reason why he is so influential is mostly the terms he brought to the sphere, like the whole idea and concept of the longhouse. He also presents a unique account of the toxic feminization of society and the necessity of recovering a lost masculine energy that Western civilization has lost. No other. That had lost in the same sentence twice. No other figure in the dissident right has really articulated this better than BAP. BAP created a space known as the BAP sphere, which he is personified in the Man's World magazine, and has various other contributions. Hey, quit coughing.
Sorry.
BAP has created a space known as the BAP sphere, which is personified in the Man's World magazine, and has various other contributors, and which also intersects with the Neo-Luddite faction, though with an explicitly masculine bent. So Mary Harrington's brand of Luddite turfism wouldn't fit. Conclusion. It is harder to track the dissident right compared to the more mainstream commentators simply because there are far more people who are in the online space. FindMyFriends.net and the New Right Post. Why is Post spelled that way? Particularly who the New Right Post recommends will give you some people who are very much belong in the dissident right sphere while I'm talking about. Ugh, man. I'm getting a little tired.
Yeah.
As always.
I mean, the article just seems overly academic, and they're talking about groups that are such niche, you know.
Yeah, a lot of people who are like following one figure also probably follow another figure in this article. They can't even really rightly declare them as having a full shape. You know, maybe I'm a little crazy, but I feel like also they shouldn't really, unless there's some sort of academic manifesto for one of these groups, a lot of them just shouldn't even be considered. You know,
separate entities. They're just all people. They're all just kind of subgroups within a cosphere. I bet you all of those people basically interact with each other. They're not their own separate spheres, really.
And for those wondering, we will not be reading about the racialist right on YouTube.
Sadly.
That yes, sadly. Sadly. Anyway, that's it for this video. I'll probably have to go over a little bit just because the editing's a little rough, but I'm gonna end the recording here. Any last thoughts?
That was pretty good. I mean, the article was trash. I think we need better articles.
We need better article writers. Not
or
long.
just find better articles.
It's going to be in English, but it's going to be written in Cyrillic, and I am going to force you to read it.
I can write an article. I'll write an article. I don't know. I'll take amphetamines and write an article. I don't know what about.
Freeborn John the poet will write.
I'm going to write an article about writing an article.